I want to welcome the GMs and the wives, the godly men, and the warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic women out there. Now, in today's video topic, I want to talk about how narcissists are predators with the mindset of opportunists and manipulators. And for those that are just joining, my name is Thaddeus, and this is the Regal Change YouTube channel. I started thinking about what kind of mindset it really takes to become a narcissist and how so many people are being encouraged toward narcissism in our society today. And what I realized was that there's an encouragement for opportunism. And there's a encouragement in our civilization as a whole right now that basically, if you can take advantage of it, then you need to do it. And this is going to be problematic sooner or later in the long term because, it's already problematic, but especially in the short term and long term consequences of this kind of behavior, we're going to see the generations up ahead start to reap the consequences of our actions. And this is something that a lot of narcissists are not thinking about. Why? Because they're so busy trying to manipulate and coerce the checks and balances of life that the system of life itself seemingly is not corrupted. On the outside, they may have all the material things. They may have the quote-unquote friends and all of the gatherings and the lifestyle that they want, right? But then on the inside, you see that the inner thought algorithms of the narcissist is completely and utterly corrupt. And so while the system itself, meaning the biological organism and the environment in which the biological organism acts in, seemingly is appropriate, on the inside, it's nothing but corruption and levers and tricks and everything of the sorts. And so what we have to understand as people that are going to be educated in narcissism is that we have to recognize that when these people are trying to manipulate and coerce and take advantage and be an opportunist in certain situations for the betterment of only themselves, we must start to call it out. And I'm not saying we should go out and call people narcissists, because that's not going to help anything in the long term, really. But you can say, like, hey, this is the situation. X is the situation. Y is your behavior in the X situation. Z is the consequence of X and Y. Logically, this does not explain or follow. Why are you doing this? And this is one of the narcissist's biggest fears, is actually being called out and actually being challenged, because most people that are narcissistic do not like being challenged. And nobody really likes to be challenged, but especially narcissists have a my way or the highway mindset. And so what you have to understand is narcissists will naturally put curses on other people, whereas if you are someone that is empathetic, that is someone that has compassion for other people, that understands that you are not the center of the universe, but you are the center of your universe, then you understand that you can naturally bless people if you so choose. Because at the end of the day, we're either cursing people, blessing people, or being neutral altogether. And sometimes that neutrality is a curse, and sometimes that neutrality is a blessing. It depends on the situation and it depends on the circumstances that you're in. But ultimately, you are the one that made it. And it is survival of the fittest out here. And I don't want to negate that, because if you're someone that's been involved with any kind of narcissist, then you have been involved with someone that trains your nervous system to attack who and what you are as a whole. That's crazy. And it's crazy making. And there actually have been studies that have shown that psychological abuse can be just as detrimental, if not more so, than physical abuse. Why? Because you're messing with somebody's reality. Like, you obviously know if somebody's going to hit you or not. Like, you know, if somebody smacks you across the face, yeah, you just got assaulted. But if somebody gaslights you and you're not even aware of what gaslighting is or what to look for, you're going to be severely confused, and your mind is going to be like a puddle of mud, and you're not going to know how to even clear it up. And you might have to get to a new place altogether to find some clean water, so to speak. So this is one of the things that you have to look out for and that you have to really acknowledge in your own life when you're dealing with these kinds of people, is that you recognize these kinds of behavior patterns. And there's a difference between people that are codependent and people that are narcissistic. People that are codependent and narcissistic exhibit similar behaviors, but the people that are codependent are more doing so because they feel like they need to connect, and they're acting from a place of trauma. They're not acting from a place of malevolence. That's the main difference. Now, even though the narcissist is acting out from trauma as well, the codependent is not necessarily doing it to hurt you. And sometimes the codependent can be either highly avoidant in relationships or highly interactive and highly clingy in their relationships. That's usually the way that it goes. And this is one of the reasons why there are so many men and women that are in relationships where the man is usually the avoidant and the woman is usually the clingy, or you see where the woman is usually avoidant and the man is usually clingy. Either one of those scenarios is not going to propagate a healthy, happy relationship that is good for long-term satisfaction and fulfillment. What's going to be a determining factor in a healthy relationship is how you handle being by yourself. Because every single relationship that you have in the whole world, the first one that you have to deal with is yourself. It blows my mind how so many people think that they can just go from person to person in their relationships or in business or whatever, thinking that this is going to solve some of their issues. It's not going to solve any issues. Because ultimately, if you're looking for other people for external validation and support and never actually getting to know yourself inside, it's going to be very challenging for you to know actually who you are and what you're about. And it's amazing in some ways. I'm 27 years old, and it's amazing in some ways how young I feel, but in other ways it's amazing how old I feel for how young I am. And so many people go through life. I've genuinely learned things that I know 60 to 70-year-old plus men and women don't even know about. And I'm very grateful for this knowledge, and I'm very grateful for this wisdom. And simultaneously, I have compassion in the multitudes for those people that have lived their life entirely. Like, I know of people that have lived for 20 plus years with someone in their marriage, all to realize that they were a narcissist, both males and females. And it's very sad to see that. but I'm also so very grateful that I'm living a life where I'm aware of it and I can spot the red flags pretty early on. And I know what kind of women are attracted to me, and I know what kind of women I'm attracted to, and I know who I'm compatible with, and I know who I'm not compatible with. And that's been able to help me set up for, number one, myself, and just developing my relationship with myself. And then that way, I don't have to settle. And neither should you. If you're someone that is dealing with a narcissist because you're lonely and you don't want to be alone, you're weak. And I'm not saying this to be rude. I'm not saying this to degrade you, but I'm saying this that you lack mental strength. You lack inner resilience. How do you develop these things? You have to put yourself in tougher situations psychologically, and you have to set better boundaries, and you have to actually maintain and hold those boundaries. If you do not, then your well-being is going to suffer and continue therefore to suffer until you're able to see through the BS that you are using as a scarecrow in your life. The scarecrow isn't actually doing anything. You might think that this scarecrow can scare away anything bad, but in reality, the scarecrow is just attracting all of this negativity stuff in your mind. And so remember that if you want to be blessed, you got to be able to give yourself the ability to be blessed and be able to receive that, and also be able to set a firm, this is okay with me, this is not okay with me, and to emotionally detach from the other person, still caring about them, but not caring about what they think. That's the key distinction. And I'm going to continue to make this kind of message going forward as far as being emotionally detached but still caring. That's the trick. That's the key to living in a healthy relationship. So with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.